Welcome back, folks. So, every marketer goes through days when there's nothing more disappointing than pouring your heart and soul into a marketing campaign only to see it fall flat on its face. Sometimes, even the most meticulously crafted perfect campaign with top notch design and captivating content can result in no leads, no downloads, no meetings, and one might end up feeling like they ran into some bad luck. But a wise man once said, it is all about getting to the root of the problem. As they say, the devil is in the details. You need to dig deeper to uncover what's missing from the equation, and that's exactly where analytics comes in. Yes, my friends, marketing analytics is the holy grail that we can always rely on during good times and tough times. It is marketing analytics that can help you to measure, optimize, and scale your campaign performance. So it's like you having a crystal ball that tells you exactly what's working and what's not. All this and more is what we'll talk about in our panel discussion titled Marketing Analytics, Your Key to Measuring and Amplifying Your Campaign Performance. We've got an amazing lineup of speakers who travel the power of marketing analytics and how to turn these insights into actionable strategies to hit the marketing home run. To moderate this panel, please allow me to introduce our in-house expert, Harshdeep Kaur, lead data analyst. She is a true blue data specialist with a strong background in statistics, data modeling, and programming. She holds multiple Tableau certifications such as Tableau Desktop Certified Associate, Certified Data Analyst, Tableau Author, Consumer, Designer, and the list goes on. So, passing the learning baton to you, Harshdeep.
Thank you, Ria, for the warm introduction. That's really great of you. So, moving on without further ado, I will start this discussion for marketing analytics. Okay. So, as the global economic transitions, we know the brands must create high value propositions that entice customers to look beyond the current economic headwinds. That's why leveraging digital technologies centered around artificial intelligence and analytics to improve customer sentiment and unlock growth is essential. In this market environment, businesses cannot afford to spend their marketing dollars on fail fast strategies. Therefore, CMOs are shifting their focus to use analytics to drive high impact decisions. Today, we'll decode the importance of marketing analytics, its key components, common marketing challenges, and more. We'll dive right into this and more with our distinguished panelists who bring a wealth of expertise and experience in marketing analytics. Allow me to introduce them. Our first panelist, Samir Mehta, is a seasoned Chief Innovation Officer with over 25 years of experience in growth marketing, data analytics, product management, customer success, and strategy. He has a strong track record of working with Silicon Valley tech giants such as PayPal, Yahoo, and leading innovative startups such as AtiWind, SugarSync, and Jamcracker. In his current role at Iron Horse, Samir leads marketing analytics and insights, technology platform development, and innovation labs teams. Thank you for being a part of this, Samir.
Thank you for inviting me to be part of this panel. I'm very excited and look forward to an amazing discussion.
Also, we have a seasoned marketing leader with a multi-decade spanning career, Boston based. She got her start on the agency side of marketing with a focus on tech startups. She then built her own agency from the ground up, launching dozens of successful brands, campaigns, products, and processes. With knowledge gleaned from nearly 30 years of driving innovative strategies for our startup clients, Christine made the decision to pivot to in house head of marketing roles with an eye on rapidly scaling growth for future cybersecurity unicorns. Thank you for joining us today, Christine.
Thanks for having me today. How are you? It's great
We
to
are
be
doing
here.
good. Okay, so let's get the conversational ball rolling for marketing analytics, your key to measuring and amplifying the campaign performance. Marketing analytics is essentially a strategic roadmap that allows us to measure the performance of our marketing efforts across the entire business. More often, marketing analytics is thought of just numbers, but it's a holistic process that involves people, tools, and technology all working together to help you identify areas for improvement and optimize your marketing efforts for greater success. So, Smear, according to you, what role does analytics play and how does it really impact businesses in today's ever evolving marketing landscape?
Great question. We all know the old marketing saying, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. And there's a reason why every marketer, marketing analyst department believes it's true, because it is true. We over here at Iron Horse and my team, we obsess about this because what's happened is over just the last couple of years, Hardeep, as you mentioned, that the landscape is evolving. We've seen some dramatic shifts in how buyers, specifically in the B2B sector, have evolved how they go about making purchase decisions and actually making that decision. And why does that matter to analytics? I'll get to that here in a minute. We surveyed over 400 B2B CMOs late last year at Iron Horse, and it was shocking to see only 26% of CMOs felt that they were satisfied with their marketing analytic capabilities. And as we started to peel the onion back and dig a little bit deeper into why they were saying that, it really came down to, one, foundationally, the buyer journey and sort of how you approach your buyers and how they approach you has dramatically shifted in just the last 2 years. We're now seeing more than 11 individuals in terms of when you're selling B2B software or B2B products. People are now hitting over, there was a Forrester study, over 27 interactions off your site or on your site before they even have a conversation with the sales rep. And they're consuming content, interacting and engaging across 10 different channels. So being just a person in marketing, that buying process has changed significantly. What's also made it more complex is today firms have over 90 different MarTech tools on their stack. Now, one might say that's amazing, that's phenomenal, but from an analytics perspective, what that's led to is this massive explosion of data. So much data that we're almost lost in terms of how to process that data and glean insights. So to answer your question more directly, I think that the confluence of the buyer journey evolving, the number of systems that we're seeing proliferate within organizations, those systems are not connected. You have lots of siloed piles of data. Today, if there's ever a more important time in terms of how marketing analytics can lead an organization to success, it's absolutely today, because the volume of data, the velocity of data, and the fact that foundationally, the sooner and the faster that you can get to insight, we usually take months to make data-driven decisions, and now we've got into weeks. The expectation is going to be, down to days, if not hours or minutes.
That's true, Samir. Well said. So, the practice of marketing analytics has multiple dimensions that are used to enhance the return on investment, as we commonly call it as ROI, and improve future marketing campaigns. So, Christine, typically, what do these components include?
So I come at this from a little bit different of an angle, being from the startup space. So I did not have a lot of access to some of the tools and technologies, and spent some of the early part of my career really doing a lot of the analytics work by hand. But what I really I believe firmly, like you mentioned, Samir, is that you can't action what you can't measure. So with that, you have to have all the analytics behind it as to the best of your abilities, even if you don't have the technologies available. So when I'm looking at what I can do with my tech stack, it's, especially as we're shifting in this B2B space, I don't know many marketers right now that are really doing things from a lead generation perspective. We're looking at things as a demand gen, and the bulk of leads is not helpful to driving revenue. So we need to be able to measure and attribute this full funnel capabilities. I want to be able to see not just the leads that have come through and how marketing has been able to influence leads, but I need to see where they're going. And we're tied to revenue. And that's something that I believe that marketing needs to be tied to. If we're not tied to revenue, I don't think we can be successful at our job. I still see, some old school marketers when I'm having conversations that feel that their jobs are complete when they pass that lead over to sales. And I would very much disagree with that. I think that we need to still be measuring the quality of what we're doing and that ROI as it's going through all the way through to a closed won opportunity. And if we can't do that, how can I justify asking for any increase to a budget? If I can say, I brought in 500 leads from this particular event, we should do it again. Well, did any of those leads get through to a closed won opportunity? Are they costing more to work those leads because these weren't opportunities that were showing buying intent signals, that sort of thing? And to not have that full funnel visibility was really difficult. So I've come in as the first marketer on teams before where there's been no marketing whatsoever. I've come in on the startup side where it's in an agency space, and there's been very, very little, having to put some processes in. But seeing every step of the funnel is a priority for me. Seeing what all the different costs associated with it. I mean, I budget down to the dollar, and I don't have a lot of extra leeway for these things. So I have to look at it from the angle of, how would I spend money in a way that's going to be the most effective and give me the most for what I'm trying to do with each different initiative. And that's sometimes without a lot of tool sets. So, utilizing things like a UTM code in a URL to see where somebody came from, tying together on spreadsheets and pulling in data manually so I can see what things look like when I don't have some of the tools and technology that peers within the other space have. But there's a really big reason why the CMO title has the shortest tenure of every title within the C-suite. And that's because it's very, very easy to point the finger at that role. When revenue isn't coming in, if you don't have that analytics behind it to really be driving it, and we're also the biggest cost center typically within an organization, especially in the B2B side. I think the most recent statistic I saw was that even a company as established as like Salesforce, they're still spending 46% of their annual ARR targets on marketing initiatives. And so clearly that marketing is a very, very expensive function within a company. So to kind of pretend like, well, we didn't know what we were doing and we didn't have the analytics behind it, even if you don't have the technology, I think it's such a mistake. And I've seen it happen, over and over. And I also see it happening later than it should. People will say, I just want to get pipeline started, start to grow. And I would disagree with that. I've come in and that's one of the first things that I want to do is ensure that there is the attribution and tracking. And obviously we can't track everything, but having the ability to measure what we can and the insight and the knowledge to extrapolate out the missing pieces of the data where we don't is vital.
Right, Christine. You very well picked up one point on, marketing efforts. It doesn't just end when it goes it's passed on to the sales. It's like at every step of the funnel that, marketing effort is involved till the revenue has been generated to the company. So it's basically the influence that we can say that marketing drives to the revenue of any company. That could be like, something that analytics can help in tracking, basically, right? So next, we jump into the A/B testing. So it's a potent technique for improving your campaigns and increasing conversion rates. We have all used it to find the ideal messaging, design, CTA, and lot more. To take things a level up, AI and machine learning are the dynamic duo that can make A/B testing a whole lot easier for marketers. It's like having a golden goose that lays eggs of efficiency and effectiveness for marketers. So, Samir, can you throw some light on how artificial intelligence and machine learning can be used to improve A/B tests and produce more trustworthy and useful insights?
Absolutely. I'm sure everybody on this session has been keeping up in the news with things like ChatGPT and large language models and generative AI. We're living in this really exciting time, and you may say that with every time that we go through, but I would say this is a pretty foundational change just in the last few months of these technologies being accessible and available to not just the PhDs or the data scientists, but allowing the application of artificial intelligence and machine learning in our day-to-day tasks, marketing actions, activities, content generation. So I think that while I don't have a crystal ball, I do think that the impact that these technologies will have on marketing as a whole are going to be things that we can't even imagine. But I'll talk about two areas that myself and our organization, we're very passionate about, and we believe that in terms of A/B testing, and we sort of extend A/B testing to the concept of personalization. Back in maybe a few years ago, personalization was very much rules based. If you're part of this segment, you should get this subject line, or subject line A, subject line B, or perhaps you'll see a slightly different tagline on a landing page to help drive conversion. Doing that without foundational technology was a lot of effort, a lot of work for your marketing ops team. And then even analytics, we would get the data and try to circle it back to the operators, but that would take days, weeks. It would take time. And so with what we're focused on a lot right now and talking to our customers is, what can you do to sort of ignite your data? You have a ton of data sitting in your marketing operations platform, in other tools, integrating at least some of that data that can immediately or almost in real time influence how messaging is made. There's a company out there called Mutiny, which if you haven't heard about them, definitely check them out. They are using AI ML to personalize landing pages and content in real time based on multiple data points that are coming in. Of course, from an analytics standpoint, we have to prepare that data, make sure that data is available in these underlying systems to feed these AI ML systems that can do real-time personalization using generative AI. The second area that I think will foundationally change with AI ML, it's a little bit different from A/B testing, but today, trying to build predictive models, we've done a lot of predictive modeling work for some of our customers. It is a very long process. It's a lot of data wrangling, data standardization, data pipeline creation, and then testing the models to see if they actually produce outputs that seem reasonable and logical to help you predict perhaps what your marketing mix should be, or sort of at a more tactical level, which creatives, or the time for when you should launch a campaign, or the duration of a campaign. AI/ML is going to make predictive modeling a lot more accessible. It's not going to need as much data as it has traditionally needed to help drive much more sophisticated decision making in less time. And I think those are the two areas that I'm personally very excited about in terms of how AI/ML will significantly impact not only marketing, but marketing analytics as a whole.
True. So you talked about data, we talked about AI and ML, right? So we talked about predictive, and there could be another churn analytics into marketing and sales, right? So all of this involves data all around, right? So this also becomes one of the challenge as the amount of data generated and collected by marketers increases each year. Implementing a successful marketing analytics process becomes a little tough nut to crack. So many companies do struggle with developing a process that accurately measures and tracks meaningful data. So the obstacles of creating an effective analytics process are diverse and extensive. So Christine and Samir, what are your thoughts on the challenges faced by companies when it comes to marketing analytics?
From my perspective, I think the first challenge is, getting it through to the rest of the leadership team and to the board of directors what a priority it needs to be. And I think that a lot of times there, on the startup side, I'll say at least, there's a perception that I have seen, and fortunately, I'm in a company now that it's very much marketing is appreciated and it's driving business. But I've been in instances before where marketing has been seen as a little bit of fluff. It's, oh, you guys just make things look pretty. And the reality is no, like I have a science degree. And there is a lot of science that goes into marketing. So, I think the first hurdle is really, education, right? And saying why it's such a priority and why it needs to be a priority. So that once that hurdle is kind of over, then it's making sure that the rest of the leadership team and the board knows why you need to have the most accurate tracking and analytics and the best business operations and marketing operations team possible that you can afford at your stage of the company. There should be somebody dedicated to that. And if it's not something that's in place in a company, when you join, it needs to be prioritized to be building that out, putting in those measures, because it's so much harder to retrofit the data to be into a model if you don't have anything behind it. It's always easier to start early when your data set is very small and then continue to grow it. I think, when I'm looking at what my budgets are, and I know that they're very small, I have to be able to do things and pivot on the fly. And if something isn't moving the needle where I need it to be, I need to be able to quickly say, we can't do this any further, or we should be, doubling down on this piece, or, where I can start to influence, like if I see something lagging. But I think having all those analytics behind, and it's, part of it can even be things like making sure the buyer persona is correct. Like, are you reaching the right audience? Like, is this person and that persona that you've been marketing into, is that even the right member of the buying team? There's always a team within the B2B space. It's not just a single decision maker, because there has to be the users, the decision makers, the whoever needs to implement, sometimes finance. So you have to make sure there's so many different components, and are you speaking to the right people? Are they getting the value? Are they understanding the value? And then seeing how it's moving through the funnel. Where can I influence? Is it lagging in a specific stage? Are they not seeing the value? But you can understand that and you can action it if you have all the analytics behind it.
Right. What's your take on this, Mir?
100,000% agree with Christine on what she mentioned. I think it's a combination of what you mentioned in terms of increased volume and velocity of data. That's a huge challenge. Now, with some of the AI ML tools out there, that we believe will get better over time. The part that Christine touched upon, whether it's a startup or organizations that we interface, which tend to be on the larger enterprise side, the number one thing that I think can hamper market analytics truly having what I call a seat at the table, being strategic, is organizational alignment. It is from the board level to the executive team, all the way down to the analyst level. And this goes in terms of building a culture of data. If it's just Christine and I kind of talking about data, but the sales team isn't bought in, or the IT team isn't bought in, or certain members of different supporting teams are not bought in, that will often lead to a project that you start on the analytics side, but will quickly die and kind of go back to what I call vanity metrics. They'll say, what are the metrics that are easy to get? They can paint a picture that we're trending up or we're going the right direction, but truly, to what Christina mentioned, are not measuring the things that are truly impactful in terms of revenue growth and attribution, and really connecting the dots to understand what drives that. It's no longer a linear formula. It's definitely a matrix of information that you have to put together. So I will say that, like, that is, alignment is key. Once you have it at the top, working at each level to understand what metrics matter, it's easy to get kind of boil the ocean, but really working across sales and marketing to understand what we're going to measure collectively, so that we're not operating as sort of two different teams. We're operating as one team, because as we've seen with the buyer journey, people go in and out, and it's no longer marketing and then sales. It could be marketing, sales, marketing, sales, marketing, sales. And understanding that from an analytics perspective, that cohesive picture is essential. It's invaluable.
Right. So multi-touch attribution is another term that we can use for it to track the customer buying journey, basically. The entire life cycle we can track using that. That can be one role. We talked about the challenge. So, there are complexities. So marketing analytics can be a complex undertaking, but utilizing the appropriate tools and technology can simplify the process. With right tools, marketers can achieve greater efficiency and effectiveness. Now, Christine, as per your experience, what are some of the most popular and valuable marketing analytics tools?
I mean, I'll go back to the fact that I've been in the startup space, so don't have access to a lot of the tools. A lot of it has been, figuring things out, what I can do internally to start, looking at the data. I know, my earlier things I had put like UTM codes in, for example, but what I do right now and what's been the most effective with limited tool sets and without one kind of master data aggregator like a Tableau, which I have used before and really like, but without having something like that currently, what I do is I build out dashboards within each one of my technology tools. I have a dashboard in HubSpot. I've got dashboards in Salesforce. I've got dashboards, in every single one of the tools that I'm utilizing. And with those, then I can sort of piece together that end-to-end information that I need. But I'm bringing in data like, where is the original source? What was the time frame for all these different sources? I want to be able to look at my data on a level where I can pivot down to industry, to organization size, to location, to the title of the person that we're working with. And I've been able to do that by kind of cobbling these things together. It's not clearly the best way to do it, but the reality is a lot of companies don't have the budget for some of these tools, and it's great sometimes to have this wonderful shiny tech stack, but if you don't have the people to properly pull the data in and build out those dashboards as well, you're still not going to get the information that you need out of it. So it's also being able to build the dashboard in a way that is a cohesive and understandable format. And you touched on the vanity metrics, Samir, like ignoring those and not putting the priority. And there can be some pressure to really focus on those because they're so easy to influence. I once worked for somebody who just wanted a huge LinkedIn following, and to the point that he didn't care if we went and bought LinkedIn followers. Like that was kind of the. And it's like, but we're successful. No, that like we had to actually measure things that are showing the success. But with that, it's how do you put them in a dashboard that is really understandable, and then how do you action upon that? But I mean, I've built out dashboards even within some of the Google technologies. Like here's Google Sheets, and we're pulling in spreadsheets, and we're pulling in here's your marketing funnel, here's your sales pipeline, and kind of aggregating them together for an end-to-end view. But it's like I don't get to rely on kind of as many tools as some folks do, but having the data, I can still get the data because it's in each one of the different tools that I'm using. If I'm using HubSpot, if I'm using Terminus for my ABM campaigns, if I'm using LinkedIn for anything, if I'm using anything within my website, Google display ads, all of it, I can still aggregate that data together for an end-to-end picture.
Right. So, parting thoughts. Are there any other insights you would like to share with our audience, Samir and Christine?
I'll leave with a couple of points, and I'll keep it brief because I know we're close to time. One thing that whether you're working at startups like Christine or where we work with a lot of larger enterprises, I think there are certain things that everybody in this session can take away. One is be strategic and be intentional. It's easy to have lots of data, lots of different data sources, but taking the time to prioritize and identify the metrics to track, figuring out not having 90 tools, but what are the right tools and technologies to get you up and off the ground or build something more sophisticated. And then lastly, having that data-driven culture. Just because there's a dashboard report doesn't mean people are looking at it or interpreting the data in the ways that they should. So combination of kind of strategy, be intentional, and build that data culture within your organization.
I would definitely agree with building that data culture, and really, not even just on the team level. It's pushing it through all the leadership levels and then up to the board. Like when I'm presenting, I always want to not just hand over a deck with information and dashboards. I want to talk through it, be like, this is why I prioritize capturing this information. This is why I prioritize capturing and displaying these specific metrics. This is why I don't stop within the marketing funnel. This is why I don't call a specific initiative within marketing a success because it brought in X number of leads. If those leads aren't going through, I'm tracking that full funnel, and then beyond that as well. We still have to retain those customers. We still want to upsell and cross sell them. So it goes well beyond that. But it's driving that culture, like you mentioned. And if you can't do that, then you're going to end up being stuck and you're going to constantly being behind that 8 ball.
Very well said. I guess that's where we are gonna have it wrap up. So over to you, Rhea.
Well, it turned out to be just as enlightening as we had anticipated. And when it comes to justifying and using your marketing dollars right, it's only marketing analytics which can be your best bet. So here's the thing, I believe marketing analytics isn't just about looking in the rear view mirror. Sure, you can learn a lot from analyzing past campaigns and figuring out what worked and what didn't. But the real magic happens when you use those insights to shape future campaigns and drive better results. A big thank you to Samir, Christine, and Harshdeep for sharing how to use marketing analytics right to improve your campaigns and boost your ROI and make better use of your marketing budget. So thanks a lot, everyone. So here's a quick
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you so much. So here's a quick reminder before you join our next panel discussion. We've got our awards ceremony coming up after a few sessions. I don't know about you, but I'm already on the edge of my seat waiting to find out who's going to take home the trophy. So be sure to stay tuned and join our awards to celebrate the best of the best in the marketing world. For now, marketing insights are far from over. There's a lot of networking that has been going on in the lounge area, and maybe you can also check those out, connect with our subject matter experts, and even stand a chance to win an Amazon voucher. Well, it's time again to get ready to take some notes, ask some questions, and join the conversation on the next up topic, SEO and organic marketing in the world of AI and ML. I'll see you around. Thank you.